Oh, yes. Oh, yes. This extremely haunted basement will be the perfect place for my 24-hour stream. Look at this room. It's like a cell. Oh, God, and I... No, it can't be. The most cursed artifact of them all. Ah!
Hey everybody, Joseph Rothschild here, aka MBT, back again with another episode of 10-Minute Testing. It's that time of the month again where I post, cringe, and loose subscriber. That's right, it's time for Trinity. The format's exactly 1 month in, and all of you sheeple just entered the last cup by copying my lists from the last video and completely skewed the metagame. And truth be told, I could not be more proud of you. This month I'll showcase some of the more unexplored, and in my opinion, more powerful decks currently legal, so let's check out Noble Knight, Salamangreat, and Jurassic Park. But first, for those of you still unfamiliar with the third greatest format of all time, thanks for the speed duel support by the way, Konami, I'll give you a quick rundown on what the format's about. In an attempt to resolve the massive advantage swings, OTKs, and general speed of modern Yu-Gi-Oh!, Trinity Format is a format with several rule changes and a custom ban list. The rule changes are the following. 1. You can only summon effect monsters 3 times per turn. 2. You can only play one of any individual card except vanillas and monsters that refer to themselves, like Malicious. And 3, you can play an additional copy of any unlimited card, a first copy of an extremely powerful semi-forbidden card, or 2 co-forbidden cards for every 5 additional cards you include over the minimum main deck size of 30. Like every Trinity video, this one will be released alongside a dueling book tournament to be held over the course of the next few weeks. Doing well in this tournament qualifies you for our Champs tournament with sweet prizes. Links are in the description. The first deck we'll take a look at is Noble Knight. A specific shout out to Watrain for pioneering this deck, because God knows I'm not smart enough to get through these card effects. You get halfway through until Noble Arms are needed once again and your eyes just start to glaze over. This deck attempts to utilize the exceptionally floaty Noble Arms spell cards to make trades and snowball small advantages into game-winning swings. With several consistent loops of repeatable king setups through Brothers and repeatable draws through Boars, the deck's incredibly well poised to grind. And with access to silver bullets like Constellar Diamond, it's got good matchups against meta threats like Destiny Hero. So with that, let's get into the card by card. You're just going to have to make peace with the fact that I can't pronounce any of these. We've got 3 copies of Artorias, a Pelenoir, a Gawain, a Dristan, a Medraut, a Boars, a Gwalchavad, Brothers, Kustenin, Rescue Rabbit, Merlin, Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, When We Far, Effect Veiler, and our spells. We're on an unexpected die, Rhoda, Foolish Burial Goods, Mind Control, Heritage of the Chalice, Last Chapter of the Noble Knights, Foolish Burial, Called by the Grave, Twin Twister, Noble Arms of Destiny, Noble Arms Gallatin, Caliburn, Excalibur, Premature Burial, Instant Fusion, and Ardefidutor. For traps, we're on 3 copies of Super Team Buddy Force Unite, as it refers to itself, an Infinite Transience, a Paleozoic Dynamiscus, a Torrential Tribute, a Return to the Front Lines, a Ring of Destruction, until Noble Arms are needed once again, and our Trinities. We're playing a copy of Heritage of the Chalice as our first, a second copy of Until Noble Arms are needed once again as our second, and the 2 co-forbidden Heavy Dust Storm and Lost Wind as our third. In the extra deck, we've got Ignoble Knight of High Laudsalin, Satellar Knight Constellar Diamond, Constellar Pallades, Sacred Noble Knight of King Artorias, Satellar Knight Delteros, Tornado Dragon, Artorias King of the Noble Knights, that wasn't so bad, Elder Entity Norden, Castel, Sacred Noble Knight of King Kustenian, Tellar Knight Ptolemaeus, Nightmares Unicorn and Phoenix, and Landphalinkus. So with that, let's check out a game. Our match is up against Weathery, the best deck that no one's playing. Our opponent's grip is immaculate. It has access to the entirety of the Weathery suite, but ours is good too. Heavy Dust Storm is a huge blowout, and we have the tools to pop off regardless. We're going to lead with a copy of Heritage. That Heritage is going to fetch a Meridrut from deck. We will normal summon it and equip it with a Caliburn. We'll then activate the effect of Meridrut, getting a Boars from deck. Boars is the glue that holds this strategy together. We'll activate Boars, getting a UNOAA or something similar from our deck to our hand, before Xyz summoning a copy of King Arctorius, and I think it'd be hilarious if he had like 4 or 5 swords attached to him. We'll activate Gugwenfar and pass it back to our opponent. We'll activate UNOAA in our opponent's draw step, and we find an Effect Veiler, which should come in handy. Our opponent's going to go into a Linkuriboh off of this Backjack and activate Last Will. We'll chain Heavy Dust Storm, which effectively prevents them from immediately tagging out with the Weathery they were going to special. Instead, they get a copy of Sangan and pass it back. We're going to pop their copy of Linkuriboh so we can get in for a fair amount of damage. They'll add a Weathery Snow to hand, and then reveal their set card as Storming Mirror Force. That's upsetting, but we still haven't used any of our summons. We're going to activate Brothers' effect, shuffling a bunch of cards back into the deck, drawing a copy of Super Team Buddy Force Unite, and then allowing us to fetch the Boars that we just shuffled with UNOAA. We'll pop off a little bit, equipping as much as we can to as many people as we can before passing it back. Our opponent will normal summon a copy of Snowy, but of course we do have the Effect Veiler, and they knew it. They'll set one card and pass it back to us. We're firmly in control of this game. We'll activate Brothers again. God, just getting Brothers to live for at least one turn is immaculate. We're going to normal summon a copy of Pelennor, equip it with a Caliburn, gain 500 life points, then activate Pellennor's effect, destroying our opponent's last monster. After that, we're going to link summon a copy of Tornado Dragon. Our opponent will activate Bottomless Trap Hole, we'll chain their set card, they'll activate Cosmic Cyclone, and while this is an interesting chain, we're up about 6 cards at this point. It seems impossible for us to lose, but we'll try our hardest. We'll set 2 cards, they'll activate Backjack, and ho-ho, tough break, buddy. They draw into a Mirror Force, they'll go ahead and set it. For turn, we draw a copy of Foolish Burial, excellent. We'll normal summon a copy of Distran and go to Battle Phase. They'll activate Mirror Force, we'll activate Super Team Buddy Force Unite to get ourselves a copy of Noble Knight Brothers, and then get in for 1700 regardless. In main phase 2, we're going to activate the effect of Brothers, shuffling back all of our equips, then activate Boars' effect, and pass it back. For turn, our opponent draws a Torrential Tribute, and of course that will wipe our board once more. As long as Boars is surviving, I'm not particularly beat up about this. We're going to activate Galatan on him, we'll get in for 27, and we can see the light at the end of the tunnel. God, we're so close. They draw a copy of Ash Blossom, at the very least it sits in defense position. We'll set a copy of Dynamiscus after battle phase, and then pass it back once again. For turn, our opponent draws, oh my god, Pot of Duality is insane. They find... oh, geez, the best target remaining in the deck! Well, thankfully, before there's any way to tag out, we can activate Dynamiscus to banish this card. They'll pass it back, and finally, we can conclude this game. Our second deck is a TCG standard, Salamangreat. Avid consumers of the Trinity Yu-Gi-Oh! Channel, yes, both of you, may remember this brew's evolution over the course of the past couple of months, and last cup it just barely missed top cut. It's likely this could be one of the best decks of the format once you all get over yourselves and stop playing crickets. This strategy makes use of the unique status of Salamangreat's Sunlight Wolf. Because it's self-referential, we can jam 3 copies for no deck building cost. Additionally, when the format gets a little slower, the advantage-oriented salamanders shine. There's really nothing like getting foxy 8 or 9 times over the course of the game. So with that, let's get into the card by card. While a significant amount of this deck might be new to you, don't worry, we're still playing the usual suspects. We're on Pero, Jack Jaguar, Fowl, Rom Claudia, Lady Debug, Salamangreat Wolvie, an unsung hero, Salamangreat Falco, Fennec, Gazelle, Flame Bufferlo, Foxer, Spinny, Foxy, Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, the honorary Salamangreat, Raccoon, and Formund Skipper. For spells, we're on Foolish Burial Goods, Signet Mining, Foolish Burial, Salamangreat Recurrence, Called by the Grave, Signet Backdoor, Twin Twisters, Salamangreat Circle, Will, and Sanctuary. For traps, we're on the self-referential Super Team Buddy Force Unite at 3, Infinite Impermanence, Rage, Blind Obliteration, Paleozoic Dynamiscus, Mirror Force, Torrential Tribute, Dark Factory of More Production, Salamangreat Gift, Call of the Haunted, and Salamangreat Roar. Our main deck Trinity is 1 copy of Salamangreat Circle. In the extra deck, we're on Tornado Dragon, Castel, Gaga Samurai to push for damage, Exciton Knight, Topologic Trisbania, 2 copies of Salamangreat Heat Leo, which is of course self-referential, Nightmares Unicorn, Phoenix, and Cerberus, 3 copies of the self-referential Salamangreat Sunlight Wolf, and unfortunately, both a copy and a trinity of Salamangreat Phalanx. So with that, let's check out a game. Our match is up against Destiny Hero, the most represented deck from the last cup. Our opener is incredible. It may not look it, but this is the best possible hand we could have drawn. we're going to lead with a copy of, you guessed it, Cynet Mining. That's going to send a copy of Wolvied Graveyard and afford us a copy of Gazelle. We'll activate Gazelle's effect, sending a copy of Foxy. We'll then activate Will to bring back Wolvie, trigger Wolvie's effect, use Valence's effect to get a Sanctuary, and pass it back to our opponent. Our opponent will draw for turn. Their grip is good as well. They'll activate a Rhoda, normal summon a Stratos, use its effect to get an Honesty Neos to hand. Afterwards, they'll activate Fusion Destiny, but we have just the Ash Blossom for that. They'll attack into our copy of Wolvie, but the graveyard is where he belongs. For turn, we draw a copy of Fennec. They're going to activate D Tactics. That's unfortunate. We'll activate Will, and they'll chain a copy of Twin Twisters. Shoot. Well, we will get to destroy their Stratos with our copy of Blind Ruination. We'll then go into a Sunlight Wolf with Fennec, then use Fennec's effect, and Reincarnation Summon a second one. We'll activate Salamangreat Recurrence after we've added Will back to the hand. Then we'll activate Wolvie's effect to get this copy of Ash Blossom back as well. We'll set a card and pass it back to our opponent, wishing them luck. They're going to normal summon a copy of Blaze Man and use its effect, but of course we just recurred Ash Blossom. Let's use it. They'll pass it back. We know they have the Honesty Neo, so we need something that can get over it. We're going to activate Will, targeting our copy of Salamangreat Sunlight Wolf. We'll activate Gazelle's effect, sending a copy of Rage. We'll activate Foxy's effect, and what do we find off the top? But, well, Pero will do. We'll then go into a copy of Heat Leo. We will go ahead and attack, and of course, because Heat Leo was made with Wolvie, that means that it can't be destroyed this turn. Our opponent will activate Honesty Neo, so they aren't dead, but they don't make any impact on our board, and after we draw 2 cards in their draw step, they decide to scoop them up. Our third and final deck is a new hot take on crickets. It attempts to resolve the deck's extreme inability to go first by including an archetype with intense playmaking potential. This build consistently makes... Oh, forget it. The reason you play this deck is you get to call it Jurassic Park. That's it. It's already topped, piloted by the inscrutable little spee that could, which proves it has legs, so if you're as dedicated to puns as I am, you have to give it a shot. So with that, let's get into the admittedly lengthy card by card. We're on 2 copies of Megalo Smasher X, a Soul-Eating Oviraptor, a Miscellaneousaurus, an Ultimate Tyranno, a Codals, a Dino Wrestler Cestegio, a Baby Ceresaurus, a Petit Pteranodon, a Jurac Aeolo, a Dino Wrestler Colelesialt, a Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit, an Effect Veiler, an Ash Blossom and Joy Spring, an Unknown Synchron as a level 1 Synchro material, Planet Pathfinder, Rescue Rabbit, Gokipole, Our Insects, 3 Insect Knight, and 3 Neo Bug. For spells, we're on World Dino Wrestling, Giant Ballpark, Lost World, Pseudospace, Chicken Game, Set Rotation, Demise of the Land, Instant Fusion, Mind Control, Fossil Dig, Foolish Burial Goods, Unexpected Die, Pot of Avarice, Ultra Evolution Pill, and Twin Twisters. That's followed by a pair of burial-based cards, Premature and Foolish. Next are the traps, Metaverse, Paleozoic Dynamiscus, Dark Factory of More Production, Back to the Front Lines, Jar of Avarice, Infinite Impermanence, Ring of Destruction, Torrential Tribute, the Self-Referential Super Team Buddy Force Unite, and Survival's End. For Trinities, we're on an extra copy of Soul-Eating Oviraptor, 2 extra copies of Giant Ballpark, an extra copy of Survival's End, the Semi-Forbidden Dino Wrestler Pankratops, and the Co-Forbidden Terraforming and Heavy Dust Storm. In the extra deck, we're on a copy of Elder Entity Norden, Brianak, High Speed Roid Chanbara, Lanphalinkus, Nightmares Unicorn and Phoenix, Gaia Saber the Lightning Shadow, Mrs. Radiant, Inzector Pico. The Xyz Monsters, Evelzar Lagia and Dolka, Tornado Dragon, number 101, Exoton Knight, and Dark Rebellion. Whew. Now let's get into a game. In an utter display of dominance, our match is up against crickets, and most importantly, we're forcing our opponent to go first. They're going to lead with a copy of Rescue Rabbit, the Fool, before they go into 2 copies of Neobug, and overlay it for... Oh shoot, Rafflesia is actually a huge problem. Okay, well, we can set this copy of Giant Ballpark and get in with a normal summoned Rescue Rabbit to get 3 copies of Neobug from our deck. Then afterwards, in main phase 2, I guess we can prompt a copy of Bottomless from our opponent, then activate Rescue Rabbit's effect to get 2 Megalo Smashers and go into a Lagia. That's something, but it doesn't actually out this copy of Rafflesia. We're also forced to pull the trigger immediately because we need our ballpark to stay on the field. We'll activate Back to the Front Lines to bring back a Neobug, and then Link summon a Gaia Saber the Lightning Shadow. It's not pretty, but it gets the job done. Our board is completely open to devastation by our opponent, but thankfully all they do is normal summon a Gokipole and pass. We draw a Premature Burial for turn. We'll go to battle phase, getting rid of this Gokipole, but negating the damage so that we get a bunch of Insect Knights. Our opponent is going to get an Insect Knight of their own. We'll crash one in and get in for, 3,800? That's pretty good. It's progress at the very least. We'll activate Picanethia to refresh our Giant Ballpark, and they'll reveal their last card, Trap Tricks Trap Hole Nightmare. Okay, that gets us back 1 Neobug. We can still activate Jar of Avarice to refresh our ballpark, but they have the traps done. Okay, now we're in a bit of a pickle. We're going to have to play without Ballpark. We'll go into Tornado Dragon and hope it carries us. Our opponent draws a copy of Cosmic Cyclone, they'll normal summon a copy of Neobug, and banish our copy of Ballpark. Joke's on you! We didn't have anything to get anyway. We'll attack into this copy of Neobug for 300, then set a Dark Factory of more. Our opponent's going to draw a copy of Insect Knight, set it, and pass. We'll activate Tornado Dragon's effect on our own Dark Factory because I clicked yes too many times. Thankfully, we finally found the dinosaur half of our deck. We'll get a Pankratops and get in for 2,600, all but sealing the game. Our opponent draws dead, and there is the concession. So that's that. While I appreciate all of my viewers, a special thanks to my patrons, especially Colin Whalen, Michael Salmior, Ace Enigma, Adam Trevino, Adrian Bra, Distrin, Lucas Geardis, and Second. If you want to see me play the decks I make on this show on stream, I'm on twitch.tv/mbtygo every Monday night from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Otherwise, I'll see you next time.